The Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G.
You see the spawns coming in for Røkkr. They're all the way in the back. They gotta go. They have to push through lights. They're gonna do just that, but it's only 10 more seconds for Mutineers to win this series. He's gonna spawn up, streak him. It's 3 dead. It's 4 dead. Mutineers with a big one here over the Røkkr. They win it 3-1.
I almost showed my best. Pre-fired him. I'm not doing an interview about
Guys.
Neither.
Well, I can't, so.
Yeah, you can.
My cam actually doesn't work, like, whenever I switch my PC, so it's actually...
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to day 2 of the Paris home series. We're about to hop into our second series of the day, our final series of the day as well. This is going to be the Paris Legion taking on the Minnesota Røkkr. Study, like I said, my friend, it has been a great day, a long day, but an excellent one nonetheless. But we sit in the lovely studio. We're actually in Paris right now, in case you actually did not know. To be joking, but regardless, my friend, excited to see what Paris can do. A great series at our hands, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Paris can do, man. That's exactly what you said. In their last 2 series, they're 1-6 in map count. Ever since picking up temp, these guys have not really found their footing. But hopefully today, this is the answer versus Minnesota Røkkr. They're going to have to play a great series from top to bottom. Even if it does go all the way to a Game 5 where it's not going to be their best map, they need to play better.
Definitely do. And on the other side as well, right? There can be some critiques thrown the way of the Minnesota Røkkr as well, right? We played just kind of coming into this series, their performance, their shocking loss to that Florida Mutineers team. Really, both of these groups looking to try and change things up. But hey, like we said, let's go ahead and meet one of our first few teams. Not Paris just yet. Let's go meet the team that's hoping to try and take them down, the Minnesota Røkkr.
Røkkr certainly come to play.
They can't stop it. They can't stop the kids. They can't stop it.
Oh, Priestahh, disgusting. Accuracy's there, nice kill. Bang! 200 IQ, 10 out of 10 play. Oh my word! But Dashy's gonna save the day. Røkkr are kings of the north.
There's a look at your Minnesota Røkkr. The videos just only continue to get better. But Study, like we said, this team off of a loss to the Florida Mutineers just a few days ago. I gotta ask you, what did you take most from their loss to Florida?
It was definitely just those hard points, man. Like in the first hard point, you had accuracy and attach who just didn't play well. And on that map 4, it was the opposite. You had Standy and Priestahh who didn't play well. So obviously the hard points are going to be there. They need to be able to perform as a team there. They want to be able to walk away with those respawns. But the search and destroy is really my main focus for this roster. When we talk about this team, search and destroy has always been their strength. In their last 6 search and destroys, they are currently 1-5 record. And that's not what you expect out of a team with attach on this roster, with accuracy. Mr. Iceman, who just clutched an insane miracle 1v3 versus OpTic. They need to be able to get back to that form where they're winning those search and destroys really constant and really consistently.
Absolutely, my man. Absolutely. Like I said, and maybe some possible blood in the water, maybe for the Paris Legion. Again, a team that's kind of struggling in a few different departments is that Minnesota lineup. But we talk about respawn, specifically Hardpoint. This is the team that a lot of times that we can look toward from moment to moment. But let's go ahead and meet your home team. Put your hands together for the Paris Legion.
Wonderful start here for Paris Legion. Paris Legion just about pushed that player off the hard point.
Just can they clutch up and go big?
Classic just being aggressive in the plane.
Fire's got to get on the bomb, and he will. He finds the kill.
Unbelievable stuff.
Awkward from the back end, able to pick up 3 along the way.
Paris Legions.
What a round!
And there is your Paris Legion. Again, a roster change coming into stage 3, bringing in good old Temp onto this team for Fire. And so far, stage 3 Study has not treated them kindly. Currently 0-2 in series, 1-6 so far in maps. What has to change today for Legion?
They need to step up in the slaying department, and I'm looking at players like Temp, especially because he's the reason why they made that change. They needed more killing on the side of the Paris Legion, and so far the guy has not really stepped up to the plate. Like you said, 1-6 map count. That very first win that they have was the first map of Stage 3, where they went up against Dallas Empire. They ended up beating them on that Garrison hardpoint, and ever since then they've just been getting destroyed. So they need to be able to keep up in the slaying department versus Minnesota Røkkr, who have the hot hand. You know how Standy can play. You know how Attach can play if they're hot. You have to be there to at least measure them or at least equalize to them if you want to keep up in this series.
Yeah, like I said, we know how talented that Minnesota Røkkr team can be at times. Like just a number of different players who can kind of step up to the plate and slay with the best of them. It's going to need to be a solid team effort out of the Paris Legion, like you said, man, in that killing department and that slaying department. What we're talking about strategy, let's go ahead and get officially into our game fuel keys to victory here. First with the Paris Legion. Study, what do you got?
They got to come out and win the hardpoint against a struggling Røkkr team in that mode. Like we said, hardpoint right now for the Minnesota Røkkr. They dropped the last two versus Florida, so that's where they can really come about. And then Aqua, he needs to be one of those star players on this team. So far, he hasn't really found his footing throughout Stage 3, a .81, where in the beginning, we were considered this guy one of the best assault rifle players in the game. And then also, we got to talk on Temp. Temp needs to pick it up. Legion added him for his slaying, and so far throughout Stage 3, ever since him being on this roster, he's at a .9. We know what Classic is able to do with the finessing. He's basically like a young Benjamin Vance, but they need Temp to go out there and really pick up kills.
Yeah, man. Like I said, it cannot be understated. Like we said, their performance so far throughout Stage 3 has not been indicative of the way that you think that those 4 players on paper would perform. Now taking a look at the other side, our game fuel keys to victory here for the Minnesota Røkkr. Study, what do we got?
S&D just needs to improve. With Standy, when they first started, during that honeymoon stage, they were 4-1 in search and destroys. Ever since then, they have been 1-5 in those search and destroys. So they need to get back to that form where they are winning those search and destroys so they can start feeling a lot more confident throughout these series. And then just more consistent hardpoint effort throughout the entire team. Like I said, the first map versus Florida, you had 2 players who didn't have a great performance. In the map 4, same thing, the opposite 2 players. They just need to be able to put their game in their favor, especially in those hard points if they want to be able to take this series.
Yeah, like I said, when it kind of came down to this team originally, it was like Standy brings onto the roster, search and destroy going to be good. It was actually hard point that kind of sticks out, but as of late, the team not been too prominent in that mode, losing their last 3. But as we take a quick little look at our maps and modes, also our vetoes. We got Checkmate Hardpoint to start, Miami, Control Garrison, Apocalypse Hardpoint, Raid, Search, and Destroy. Stud, anything to kind of highlight and bold, anything that you're circling coming into this series?
Just those first 3 maps, man. Between both of these 2 teams, those first 3 maps, they have the same exact record on every single map. When you get to that map 4, you have Minnesota Røkkr, who have yet to play that on the season, so that's going to be their first time. But if it does go to that map number 5, Raid, S&D, Paris Legion are currently 0-3, so they do not want to get there if they can close it out early.
Yeah, man. Well, we're starting things off on the old Checkmate Hardpoint. I feel like we've had so many highlight moments on this map in particular, some even just a few days ago, but looking to really see what we can kind of get out of our Slayers. Again, we've kind of set it up quite well. We've set the table pretty decently. And like when we talk about Checkmate, right? You got to make sure those tray tables are upright. You can only have dinner for so long, but hoping this series will treat us to something quite nice. Like we said, Paris, a major series for them, and Des kind of talked about it at the start of the day. Not only would this be a big series for Paris, but this would be a big sequence for the Minnesota Røkkr. If they were to lose this, right, they would go down 0-2 in this group. Team that was so highly favored kind of coming into this one, coming into Stage 3. A lot of hype around this team for a number of different apparent reasons. But here we go, starting things off on Checkmate Hardpoint. Of course, it is P1 inside of the plane. The slang is hot and heavy as Minnesota currently with the lead.
Yeah, so Paris are going to start off on good side. Unfortunately, Temp is going to nade himself out of that contest spot right there. So time is still going to go in favor of the Røkkr. But you see what Standy's trying to do. He's pushing through the yellow K, trying to flip these spawns, but Classic's able to win that engagement. But as of right now, Paris Legion, they're not really mad. They're not really mad. They're not giving up a lot of time off that P1. They're keeping those spawns for that P2. Temp also, we were talking about it. He might have switched to that flex roll, and right now we see him with that Krig in his hand. So he picks up a 2-piece in that kill feed to keep those spawns for his team. So far, this is a great showing from Paris Legion.
I want to ask you kind of on topic with that role change. I know we're already getting into the action, just considering it is a hard point. It's Classic, a great spot maybe on the flank as he falls, but I know it's early, like we said, we're literally in the first hard point now coming into P2. Paris do have the spawns, but Simp starting off 5-1 on the 4 spree. I want to ask you though, do you think that role change for Paris is necessary? I know we've talked constantly about how Scraps, how great he's been with the flex. SMG really didn't work out, but it was Fire who did have that. How great do you think this team looks now, or how good could they look now with that role change in here?
Well, so far so good, man. They're able to pick up a lot more kills, and that's just one thing that they were lacking. And Scraps is a great flex player, but he can also do it with the submachine gun. That's what he was doing when he switched over from Fire to that flex role. So he's a little bit more comfortable in that role there. And hopefully it allows Temp to start picking up more kills with that Crimsix. I'm pretty sure he started off this map 5-1. So overall, it should be a better feeling for this team to keep up that aggression, keep up the slaying. And so far in this map number 1, it's showing. After the second hard point, Minnesota Røkkr, they're able to get this remaining time on this P2, but Paris Legion are going to be nice to set up early for that P3.
Yeah, kind of a crazy P2 just in terms of spawns, kind of going back and forth. Paris for a moment looked good, and there's Minnesota, then Paris, then Minnesota grabs the final few seconds, but they will have the lead, granted as minor as it can be. That quickly changes, and now Paris, with that in their hands, is now we head toward bottom plane. Again, the big focus on Paris is kind of about their hardpoint game. Same thing really with Minnesota as well. How can that slang really start to step up? And with Temp starting as well as he is, it is a solid point to reference. But 30 seconds left in terms of that next hard point. It will be a big 1v1 as Classic is able to drop it. Legion currently with map advantage, also with a nice setup coming in toward A Street. So it looks good for them to grab the final 20 seconds. Minnesota, they begin to rally, starting to stack up. We'll see what that push is going to look like, as it has to be a solid one. If not, Legion can only start to expound upon this lead. Aqua, he gets traded out.
Yeah, and the thing that gets scary now is going to go into that P4, P5 chain hard points here, and Paris Legion are going to be fully set up. So you see with Minnesota, they were trying to push around that back right side of plane to try to flip those spawns, but now they do not have the favorable spawn. So Paris Legion, they're up by 40 points. They have a full setup here, just watching all the players trying to cross out through yellow crate. They're also keeping plane control with Scraps, playing like a rat, but unfortunately he's going to drop to Standy. So now they're going to give it that plane control, but still, time going in favor of the Paris Legion. Aqua still picking up kills on the backside, but so far Paris are playing this beautifully. They're trying to keep those spawns for P5 because they know that is a money hill, and they can get a full 60 on that one.
Yeah, so when you have spawns and you're playing well at the hard point prior to that, you're usually going to be in a good situation. With Minnesota, they do break in at a crucial moment toward that A Street. And they're going to need to try and chain this as well, coming in toward P5 in order to bring this one to a more level heading. And in the midst of that, we'll go and step aside and listen in with the communication now for our Astro Listen-In with the Minnesota Røkkr.
Top red, top red.
Yeah, I think one might be playing.
Top red. What's top lane? Yeah, top lane. Oh, he got me from,
Look for this guy top
Alright,
lane.
you lose top tower.
Donnie got to the back. Donnie's back wall.
Responding blue.
Okay.
Waiting
Someone
back
help me. Yo, top lane on me, I need help.
I'm coming.
I can help you. Top lane, push you, Nick.
I don't see him.
One shot, top lane.
Nice.
He's not top tower anymore.
No, he's tower. He is tower.
He is?
Back walls.
Okay, I'm looking tower.
Yo, no trophy on time, I'm needing.
I don't see him walls though. I'm trying to help you right. What side? I'm nading tower, you dead.
One shot the box.
One shot time.
Wood window, Nick in contest box.
I don't see him graffiti.
Wood window, Nick in
Wood
contest box.
window, dead.
Graffiti, Donnie.
Contest box push out.
Wood wall.
He's going
Wood
there.
wall, iLLeY dead.
Wood stairs in contest box.
Donnie's
Okay. He's top exit.
Needing
Donnie's
contest
our
box.
steps,
You gotta exit.
Nice.
I gotta exit. Contest box. I'll get him. Box.
I flashed contest box.
Pillar.
Nice. Oh, he's in wood.
And Wood, iLLeY, weak. Jumping out Wood.
Left
From
side,
Wood.
dead.
He's
Flipping.
Yeah, there's one blue guys.
Oh, he's Wood still, Donnie. I'm top
Yeah,
lane right now.
he jumped out.
Yeah. The rest are gonna be
Donnie
this side. That's top lane.
Nice.
Good job. Bring us back right here.
I have a trophy on you, though.
Oh, no, inner.
Inner wallbang, Scraps. He's challenging inner room.
There's Donnie.
In a room, one bullet, Scraps.
Okay.
I gotta go. He backed up.
Yeah.
He's still like cubby or backing up to us.
Stacks and B-wing.
Donnie's in a room.
Alright, Donnie stacks.
Scraps.
Donnie stacks, 2 hill. Yeah, Scraps.
I'm trying to
I'm wrapping up. B-wing was hurt. Yeah.
He's bringing up point.
He's up the bill.
He's in a room.
Okay. Out of wall still. Okay, I'll get him.
One shot in a room.
Flash.
Our wall dead.
Take my time, right?
Nice.
I got nade right.
Well, Standy, normally I ask you for the communication out of the Minnesota Røkkr, but really at this point, we got to talk about what we're witnessing right now from the Legion. They go P3, P4, P5. They lose the last few seconds at P5, but it's not all for naught. In fact, in the midst of that, they also grab spawns for P2 coming up. Our money hill. How great has Legion looked, despite what I think are solid communication right now from Minnesota?
Yeah, Paris Legion, they're just playing perfect hardpoint right now. They're giving up this remaining 15 seconds off that P5, so they flipped those spawns, and then they started off with initial time on towards P1. Scraps also went big with the 3-piece right off the rotation to shut down that push from Minnesota. But now it's all about trying to hold this push, and already you have 2 players that are spawning out. Classic and Scraps are going to have their hands full on this backside, but Classic, he's trying to maneuver on the map. He's trying to take down the second and attach, but here comes the players from Minnesota trying to set up that pinch. That's going to be the players from Paris Legion eliminated from the backside of this P2 hardpoint, so that gives Minnesota the opportunity to get fully set up and get some more time on this clock.
Yeah, and what a huge break that is from Minnesota, right? We're talking constantly about how, hey, this is a great situation for Legion. This is where they can really start to kind of break open that lead, maybe get past the 200-second mark, but it is the Røkkr who break in at the perfect time, but there's 2 coming in for both Scraps and Temp. They shut down the 3rd and attach as well. Can they make it a 4th onto Standy? He's able to stay alive for the moment. A nice nade comes through to shut down Aqua. Can Legion get to that 200-second mark? They're going to be just shy of it as we head in toward P3. So, like I said, a good moment there for Røkkr. They're able to get some time, but Legion toward the tail end are ever closer toward that 200-second mark. It cannot just be a one nice hill from Røkkr. They're going to need to chain a few of these, much like Legion did in those first set of rotations.
Yeah, they have to make sure that they keep the spawns for P4 and P5. That's the only way that Minnesota are going to be able to fight back into this game. And they're doing a great job so far. Just keeping plane control, making sure all the Paris Legion players are swanning out towards back yellow. But unfortunately, with Aqua hitting shots like that, opened up with 2, that's going to open up the map now for Paris Legion to try to get some more map control. Time is not going in favor of Minnesota. But with them only being down 50 points, like I said, they need to be able to keep those spawns. The Paris Legion are doing such a good job of just keeping them off this time, not giving up any extra time.
How about Classic? How about Nicky D? Just continuing to be a thorn in the side. He's able to win the big 1 versus 1. And really just with that map control that he gains, it allows for every single lane to be able to move up as Legion have the final few seconds, or at least they're going to contend for these final few. They'll be the first ones over at A Street. Granted, with that, bottom plane controlled well by Minnesota. Standy starting to heat up. Had a slower start toward this hard point, but now sits at 16 and 17. We'll see what Minnesota can do as the focus instantly goes on to this team. How well can they hold over at A Street while also trying to lock in those P5 spawns? You've got the ARs winning their fights, but unfortunately the SMGs, they lose those up close. But regardless of that, will be Minnesota trailing back inside of the hill. 1 player toward back plane. That's going to be Aqua. He could start to cause a few problems as the slang constantly back and forth. Paris, they start to break on in. Røkkr, they need a good performance to try and make sure the Legion cannot continue to extend this. The contested hill for now, Minnesota still with those P5 spawns.
Minnesota, they just need to keep control of that side of the map to be able to fight back into this one. Unfortunately, 2 players are going to drop, so now you see the Paris Legion players trying to push up that back alley, but Attach is able to eliminate Classic off that. Temp's going to try to go for the challenge as well. Attach going huge off the rotations, but just like that, Paris Legion are able to flip the spawns, and Minnesota have to try to break through the front.
Do indeed. Just 2 seconds left before this one is done and dusted. Do we call it curtains here, or can the Røkkr do something? Classic shutting them down left and right, and Minnesota not going to be able to get to the hill in time, as this one will belong to the Legion, and a solid performance at that, 250 to 169. We said it, Study. We called it out in the game field keys to victory. They needed to win that opening hardpoint, and they're able to do it, my friend.
Yeah, man, and it was off that very first rotation of hardpoints. They were able to chain that P3 to that P4 to the P5, and then eventually flip those spawns on their head when it rotated back around towards the second rotation of hardpoints. Paris was just playing beautifully from start to finish to that hardpoint. Minnesota, they were playing from the back foot. They had to try to break multiple hills. They couldn't really get a setup in their favor. They had that setup for P2, but Paris Legion, they were able to break it with about 30 seconds left, so they were just climbing that board, just chasing that 250, and eventually they get the job done right there, man. They close it out. They contest that P4 all the way down to the very end, and then they flip those spawns and eventually close out that game. Good hardpoint right there out of the lead.
Yeah, solid hardpoint, and really a consistent hardpoint at that, right? The lowest amount of kills was 19. The highest for them, 23. Consistency early for the Legion. Can that echo now into the search and destroy, or will Minnesota level this one up at 1 apiece? Stay with us. This Paris home series will continue.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by GameFuel. Use code CDL2021 for a special discount on GameFuel.com. Tournament audio and team listenings are powered by Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is presented by Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armor your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming.
Welcome back, folks, to the Call of Duty League. It is the Paris Legion taking on the Minnesota Røkkr, and we gotta kind of sit still here with this Røkkr team because it has kind of been an interesting sequence for them as of late. When we talk about performances, right, everything was excellent. When they start things off with Standy, the team is just hitting new levels. But as of late, man, they've been a little shaky overall. We talk about their performances. It clearly looked like a better team, but the question is, are they just in a slump, or maybe this team just had a really good honeymoon period?
They probably just had a really good honeymoon period, man. There was no team out there to have the expectation of Standy coming in and being the player that he was at, and now teams are starting to catch on. You see in that very first hard point, they still have those mistakes on their setups where they're still flipping out towards the very end of those hard points, and it's really costing them. So now they're going into a Miami search and destroy, where the search and destroy hasn't really been that backbone game mode when we talk about Minnesota Røkkr, because in their last 6, they are 1-5 currently, and for both of these teams on this map specifically, they are both sitting at 2 and 3, so this is going to be just an even playing field for both sides. You have one side, which is Paris Legion, just made a roster change, so they're still developing strats, and Minnesota, who are trying to get back to that form where their search and destroy was really pushing them over in a lot of these series, and hopefully on this Miami search and destroy, we'll see a lot closer of a game.
Yeah, man, like, you kind of hope to see that, right? Because I feel like, you know, when we talk about search and destroy for both these teams, you know, obviously for the Paris side specifically, it's not really been good all season, right? They have I think it's like the 11th best, or you can say like the second worst, depending on how you look at it, but they've got a 5-12 record. That's all you really need to know. Search and destroy has not been good for them, but kind of considering the struggles in the search and destroy and the control. Well, we talk about the first 3 maps, as you called it out, man. Map vetoes, I think you're kind of okay with this if you're Paris, right? Just to get an even map, let alone through your first 3, that could be a good situation for them. That could be kind of a key to success for this team. And I know that Miami search and destroy is one that Paris Legion, they like it. At times, it's kind of been a strong map for them. We've seen Classic go off on this map before, so I don't know. I think we're going to need to see a solid performance out of Minnesota to stop what can be, at times, a crafty Legion lineup. But already into our first round, you know it, folks. It is that top purple fight. Standy, despite what was kind of at times a little bit of a slow performance, he started off that hard point not so great, does drop that first blood, halting the push out of the Legion.
Yeah, good first blood right there out of Standy to make sure that his team takes control of that top purple. So that's going to set up a task to only watch towards the lower garage, and he's able to pick up a kill onto Temp. Turns into a 4v2 situation. He did see that player slide off towards the bomb site. But now Paris have their hands full. The flashbang coming in. Two players are going to walk right in front of aBeZy. He's able to take down one. Is he going to try to run away with his life? But he's going to get traded by Priestahh. So now it's all left up to scraps in the 1v3. He's able to find Standy into his top purple. He spots accuracy as well. He's going to be stuck on this truck in a 1v2 situation. He has to try to commit to this, and yes, he does. Now it turns into a 1v1 situation with the player jumping right out, and Priestahh, he's going to read it. He's going to be able to close out that round, which almost got really scary for the Røkkr right there in the 1v3. Scraps almost makes it possible, but him being one shot, Priestahh knows he gets the call out, turns the corner, able to get the kill and close out the round.
So well deserving of that best play, man. I was going to say, if he maybe regens health a little bit earlier, a 1v3 at a Matty Marshall to start, that's exactly what the Paris Legion needed. But again, just too strong in those early picks out of Minnesota, definitely causing some problems. But like I said, out of the Legion, the story for them in search and destroy, oftentimes when we talk about solid performances, is coming out of scraps. Like, I don't have our exact stats in front of us, but I know that his overall performance, like 80 X factor in search and destroy, it's insane, just because he has been that search and destroy player for them. We know how great he was last year with the Royal Ravens. His prowess in search and destroy obviously impacts the team from time to time, but it's about that synergy. And speaking of synergy, a great start from Minnesota as we get the nice camera view over top. Slowly but surely making their way onto that A site, and with that utility, the trophy is out, and they are setting up camp over at the A bomb site.
Yeah, no hesitation on that A bomb plant once they open up with that first blood. Now it's all about just trying to hold the line, and 2 players are going to drop now, so it's going to be a 4v1 situation for Mr. Donnie Temp. Able to take down 1, but with 30 seconds remaining, ARs all around the map. Accuracy is going to be sitting towards top balcony. They're going to be able to spot him. They're not giving him any easy kills on this round until Accuracy is going to overpeak there. Attach is going to go for the challenge as well. Temp with some great shots. Unfortunately, not able to close out on that kill. And Attach is going to close out that round. But it all starts with that first blood onto Aqua. Once they eliminate that player from that beach side, they do know that they have that information that the A side is going to be open. And if not, there's going to be 1 player. But they should easily be able to work that bomb plant. 4v3 retake. Right there, the Minnesota Røkkr. They just played a great round on offense.
Music to my ears, Study. Music, the analysis, absolutely perfect. Start things off, man. But yeah,
Thank you very much.
I was going to call it out to start that round. I was like, okay, Minnesota, you know, nice, slow and steady toward the A site, just because I'm kind of used to that. And then it was like, nope, we're just going to go in full send it toward the beach. No big deal, bro. And yeah, they obviously win the round because of it. So nice, decisive play out of Minnesota to start. Attach 3-1, Priestahh 4-1. As now we'll see what the Legion can do again on this offense. They will continue to hit toward this B site. It was the near 1 versus 3 for scraps, but it really was those opening picks. It can cause some problems. The quick trade is Attached, now brought down to 18 HP. He has to back up, and that's exactly where Accuracy is going to be able to pick up from where he leaves off. The 3 versus 2. Advantage toward Minnesota. Accuracy gets the nice shots toward the bottom side of the van. Fabs and all taking down Classic, and there goes Temp. A retake successful, and another Search and Destroy round going the way of Minnesota.
That's a good little play right there out of Standy right there to put himself in that position to get that first blood. Eventually, he does get traded. But Attach really playing his life towards back alley. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get a kill, but sets up enough time for Accuracy to come in, to able to get that first blood, and then get the second kill onto Classic. Turns it into a 1v3 for Mr. Temp. And so far, Minnesota Røkkr, nothing but teamwork in this Search and Destroy is really prevailing right now as they're up 3-0 on this map number 2.
Hey man, and just all around solid play. And I know you just spoke about it a moment ago, but kind of one of my favorite moments throughout that round was this very play, right? Attach. He puts in the early damage. He gets brought down to like 18 HP. He's obviously in back alley, and right there, just when you're thinking Paris, they maybe have a little bit of a lane to go for the bomb plant. Accuracy is there to try and spoil the party. Again, 3 quick rounds going the way of Minnesota. Right now for Legion, got to try and change things up. I know you talk about it constantly, about how teams just need to make kind of these mid-round adjustments. You need to try and change up the game plan. Currently on this defensive spread for Legion, they do have that 3-1 split, issuing a lot of their forces toward B, but how great of a kill this could be for Aqua. But he gets tagged out. He is found for the backside of the catamaran, hanging out over toward the boat. And really with his presence, that's actually going to make Minnesota go for the rotation. So his presence, Minnesota says absolutely not. We are not happy with that one. The middle side, and off of that rotation, they do take scraps along the way. 4 versus 3, bomb still yet to be planted. And maybe it could just be a matter of moments as they've got the 4 versus 2, or rather 3 versus 2 advantage on this B site due Minnesota.
And I love this play out of Minnesota right now. Not trying to take control of top purple because they do not have any information where players are going to be. But Temp able to take one down, so now it turns into a 3v3. But with 25 seconds left, I'm paying attention to the mini-map. Look at Accuracy. He's going to be working up the middle of the map while all these engagements are going on. But number 3 in Aqua, he might be able to catch him as he's setting up for this late pitch. There comes Classic in the corner. Temp and Classic holding down this B site. Accuracy does get that kill towards middle map, but with 10 seconds left, he has to try to plant it and kill both. Classic and Temp do a great job at just holding purple down that entire defensive round to close that one out.
Yeah, a huge play. As we get to rewatch it again. It's looking a little bit scary. Minnesota were off of that rotation, but they pretty much just run right into the blender over toward this street side. And I know Accuracy obviously is the Iceman, but kind of like, you know, game winners. It's like, you know, how many game winners do you have? Oh, I got like, you know, like 3 or 4. But how many, you know, at times do you lose? Well, you know, a little bit more frequent than not, but Accuracy, without a doubt, a talented player in the clutch, as we know, but in those situations, it's never easy. 1v2 cannot commit it. Speaking of ones, Paris able to grab it there first. Nice to see it. See if they can really start to add on to it. Really, with this next offensive push, it will be over at A. Again, we talked about attacking rounds. Paris ranked 12th in the CDL. And they've got that objective in their hand. In fact, they've got a 0.73 KD in attacking rounds. Definitely a department where Theory and the boys have got to go back to the drawing board and work on it. We'll see if those improvements can be made as Temp, slowly but surely, makes his way up through the mid-map.
And this is kind of scary. This Temp's positioning can be huge. He can either flank towards this A site and try to get a pick for his team. He might be able to get hurt there, but unfortunately, he's going to be able to take down Priestahh. So that opens up the beach positioning for his teammates to be able to push up. And now he does know the accuracy is going to be up top. He's going to be one shot, so accuracy has to jump out that front window as that nade does come in. It's all about just playing your life here if you're Temp. Trying to get this bomb down. Paris Legion only have 20 seconds to do so. Accuracy is going to be working around the top side, but Classic's going to be underneath, and Attach is going to go for the challenge, but unfortunately, he's going to drop. Do they know that Accuracy is going to be right above him? Yes, they do. Accuracy is going to be able to take down one. Trying to go for the second onto Aqua, but unfortunately, both players are going to drop, and another great round out of Paris, especially on Temp. Slowly but surely creeping up the middle of the map, able to eliminate Priestahh off of that beach position, give his teammates the opportunity to push up, eventually work towards that bomb plant. Just completely broke the setup for Minnesota Røkkr right there on that round. Good round out of Paris.
Yeah, man. And a much needed round at that. Like we said, they're able to finally start to stitch together too. But really, that round, I think, just has Donnie Temp, young Kyrie, his signature all over it. Makes the nice plays through the mid-map. Really, from there, breaks open the setup as Temp sitting on 4 in a row. Great performance so far from him. I know Search and Destroy necessarily wasn't like the department where everybody said, okay, now with Temp coming onto the team, now we're going to be a better Search and Destroy team. But at least so far, he has put in the work through 5 rounds. Leading and slaying for the team as Aqua continues to be a problem. Over toward this Catamaran, really just shutting down that A site. But with that in mind, Scraps does drop for the opening kill. Aqua's still hanging out, really based off his position. Him and Classic are able to set up things for a moment, but really with that pick, it's Minnesota overall winning the fights, and now a hot hand. We'll see if Temp can go for a heat check. It would be a hot and spicy round if he could walk away with it. 1 versus 3. Does get the nice nade onto Attach. So first job done. Sam being so problematic through the middle side of the map. Well, he's going to have to jaunt his way to the middle side of the street just to make this one competitive. As he will fall. Minnesota, a clean and big run for them to take.
Just opening up with that first blood onto Scraps in the middle of the map really just breaks the setup of the Paris Legion. Once they're able to do that, they bait and switch out on Aqua towards the boat. They take full control of that A site. I would have liked to see Temp right there. He was on a 5 spree, and if he was able to pick up some streaks, it could really change this game to not really commit towards that round. But fortunately, he's going to drop, so no streaks going in favor of the Paris Legion there. Now they find themselves down 2-4. Minnesota, the way that they played their very first defensive round, they had Standy and Attach take control of top purple. But so far, Paris Legion have not tried to be aggressive on that ever again. This looks like they're going to go nice and early this time with Scraps and Classic leading the way.
Scraps and Classic leading the way, but Standy could be there to spoil things. The early kill on the Temp. He backs up, tosses out the nade. Much like a ninja would toss out a smoke, he tosses out the nade and just quickly disappears. Meanwhile, it's the aggression on the other side, looking to try to push out. Attach as the nade shuts him down, but Standy a long and awaited flank as he'll get cut down toward the top side of the stairs. 3 versus 2, advantage right now for the Legion. Bomb still yet to be planted. And Priestahh's gonna have to make a nice little run through the middle side of the map to join alongside his squad mate. Actually does have the angle, but it's Classic from down low. He wins both! It's the Iceman winning the 2. Aqua on the other side. Now brings this one to a 1 versus 1. And what a situation that we're in. It is the swing round after all. Time starting to tick away. Accuracy aware of where that bomb is. And Aqua has such a difficult task ahead of him, and it's Accuracy winning 3, getting the hat trick, and setting up Minnesota for one more round to lock up this search and destroy on Miami.
Man, the patience right there out of the Iceman to just take his time with that first kill onto Scraps. He doesn't panic as he sees Classic cross his screen at that front of that door, but he completes the kill onto Scraps and eventually snaps on the Classic as well. That's why he's the clutch man. That's why he's Mr. Ice, because he makes plays like that. It's going to put him on a 3 spree, clutches out the 1v1 versus Aqua. So now they find themselves at game point from closing out this map number 2 and tying up this series. And right now it's looking like Minnesota are going to commit towards this A push once again. They know the way that Aqua decides to play this. Look at the positioning switch out of Scraps as well. Going to change it up, go towards that top window. They're able to spot Aqua out towards this beach side. That's all about how can they bait and switch to try to eliminate him from this position. It's looking like they're just trying to try to leave him there and work up the middle of the map.
You see that they are tossing out some utility, so with the map positioning out of the Røkkr, they're actually going to make their way pretty much to the mid-side lane. Nobody looking at them from that visitor center, but trade comes on through. Aqua does get dealt with, so that A portion of the map is going to be free. First player here is Classic. All that he can do really is just try to shoot through the bomb, which is not going to work out. He also has the trophy, which is going to cause some problems. Meanwhile, with this 2v2 retake, keep in mind the one player that's not in a position for these head-to-head gunfights is going to be Attach. Classic wins one from up top, but Attach again is there for the chain, as that will be 2 out of Attach, and the final round here on this Miami Search and Destroy. The daggers out of Attach, as Minnesota winning this one 6-2.
That was just textbook S&D, man. They were singling out a player, and every single time they did that, they were baiting and switching to eliminate him and then eventually fighting for more map control. Minnesota just played that S&D like we haven't seen them playing in a really long time. Teamwork was there. Accuracy still's got the ice in his veins, and that was a great search and destroy from top to bottom. Paris Legion, you're going to go back to that round where Accuracy was able to clutch up there. That was the swing round where it could have went to a 4-3 or instead of a 5-2, but Minnesota, they just get the job done, man, and now they're tied up 1-1.
They are indeed. Like we said, that first hard point, maybe that could have really hurt the Minnesota Røkkr, just kind of given how Search and Destroy has looked. But as you called it, my friend, and called it perfectly, Minnesota just textbook Search and Destroy. And like I said, with the clutch plays, with the clutch factors they have on this team, it's just kind of a matter of time before we saw one. As Accuracy, yet again, a highlight moment throughout this game. Of course, that one is going to be our U.S. Army tactical play. And it was the clutch that came in toward that round 7. As you called it, Study, it was the swing round. A big moment possibly for Paris to get brought back in this game. But Accuracy says no.
Yeah, so Standy right there, he opens up with that first blood. And you see the way he's able to back up, just play his life to the best of his ability. But once they were being aggressive towards this guy back out, it's exactly what they needed to do. Turn it into a 3v3, and then a great corner right here out of Scraps to take down Standy. So it turns into a 2v3 situation. And just look at the patience right here from Accuracy. We started pre-aiming at the top at 45 seconds. When he decides to take this first bullet is when he knows he can guarantee this kill. And at the same time, he spots Classic running across the screen. It was terrible timing for Scraps right there to jump out at that time. And then Classic, he tries to go for the instant trade in Accuracy. He just gets the better of him there and able to walk out with that one. Now it turns into a 1v1 situation with 25 seconds remaining on the clock. The bomb is going to be down. So Aqua has to work towards that. He has to try to pick up that bomb once again. He's crouch walking around the middle of the map. Accuracy is still sitting towards that top purple staircase. He's able to use his Astro headset right there to make sure he's able to get those comms and eventually close out that round. That's why he's the Iceman. That's why he closed out that game number 2.
Absolutely, man. And I'd say when Classic's kind of sliding through, I think we all kind of expected him just to instantly focus. They're on a Nicky D, but nope, like you said, man, stays consistent, stays steady. His Accuracy making the big plays to give Minnesota back a chance in this series as we are level at 1 apiece. Coming in to the control on Garrison. Stay with us, folks, as we're back with it in just a moment.
Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is presented by USAA Insurance. We offer insurance that's made for the military community to help them easily protect what they've worked hard for.
Alrighty folks, it's about time to hop in toward this garrison control for game number 3 as we're currently level at 1-1. Pretty much what kind of dominance being displayed from both teams. Paris in the hard point, but it was Minnesota answering back in the search and destroy. One thing we got to talk about, my man, is Paris, right? Kind of their performance since adding Temp onto the team. As much as I love Donnie Temp, aka Young Kyrie, aka whatever you really want to say, it's not really been great so far, man. Like just their performance, just the way that they've looked kind of in and throughout series, it's not really been all that stellar.
No, it definitely hasn't been, and obviously the only one that sticks out is going to be that hard point. That's the one that they really get to play every single day. They're running multiple different practices, trying to get some more reps in that game more specifically, but the S&D and the control woes continue for Paris Legion. With the new roster, it's going to happen in that search and destroy, but they need to be able to answer in this control right here, which is going to be Garrison. Both teams on both sides are going to be sitting at 2-1, and you see on the quick scope presented by Scuff, 11-12 hardpoint record for Paris, so they do have the advantage there, but the search and destroys and the controls are both going to go in favor of Minnesota. So after Minnesota just clutched out that search and destroy, going into this garrison control, it's all going to come down to the submachine gun players for me. So I'm looking at Classic and I'm looking at Standy. The way that these guys are able to maneuver this map, just sneak around, get towards back bricks, get around through underground tunnels, and just maneuver the map. They need to be those playmakers on this map to open up the map control for his teammates to try to get more positioning.
I feel like too, man, kind of echoing off of that. Like I feel like Classic doesn't deserve enough love. I know Paris Legion, just kind of given their performance, just the way that they've looked as of late, and really just with kind of at times, a roster that looks like they can be great, and then just at times starts to falter. It can be difficult for a player to really stand out unless your name is Aqua or Scraps, who just happen to have insane KDs. Classic really puts in the work, man. Like when we talk about his performance, at times he can take over games. At times he's kind of labeled, or really kind of is, the dirty work type of player. And we talk about Comms, just his kind of performance. When we talk about his ability to win, right? He has such a great record. He's won in multiple titles. Like I forget the exact streak, but just his performance, his ability to kind of add different elements to a team, it cannot be understated. Excited to see him, as you called it, my man, in toward this garrison control. A big one for both of our teams. As we called it, the records continue to be the same through our first 3 maps. 2-1 for both these teams. Again, not something that you're avoiding playing, but also something you're not overly confident in. So we'll start things off with the Paris Legion on their opening offense. It is Classic. We're looking through the eyes of Nicky D to start things off, but it's attached on the other side, shutting them down with a nice 2-peek.
That's going to be 3 down nice and early for the Paris Legion. So now they got to fight for their spawn. And Minnesota Røkkr, they are pushing up, gaining map control. They're going to try to keep towards top green, but Classic, he's able to sneak through. So that's going to be 2 players down. So that might be the opening for Paris Legion players to try to get more pushed up. But Standy still causing havoc by this tools area, just being a menace on the map for the Paris Legion. That's going to be another 2 players. Paris Legion, they just cannot chain a couple kills together to try to get out of their spawn. And Standy, he's going to be in a nice early 5-3, trying to work towards some streaks, but Scraps is able to take him down.
And at times we can just see SMG players start to thrive, whether it's hardpoint, whether it's control. You give them some of these angles. Obviously, the fight's kind of up close. At times favor those SMGs, and Standy on a heater to start off. 5-2 for him. Attached on the other side, 4-1. Does get met with the headshot from Aqua, so that could be the lane that starts to open things up, as Classic will hopefully look to try and lead the charge. Stops that clock at 15.3 seconds. With the amount of players that kind of are on the other side of the map for Minnesota, it will be the 1 versus 2. So Priestahh and Accuracy, they handle business. Shut down any extra forces that Classic can have. So with 14 seconds, he has to try to make the play. Does get some assistance. Temp jumps out of top green at just the right time. But the 2v2 will favor Minnesota. With 8 seconds on the clock, what can Paris do? Aqua onto the point, living on a prayer. Lives not favoring them by any means as time just continues to tick away. Scraps, he ends up getting taken down. Player 2 in Classic still is trying to be problematic toward that A point, but he can't hop off of it. Because if he does, the game will end. The round, in fact, will end. Paris trying to do everything they can just to try and stay alive, but finally, they will get found out. It's just a matter of time, Study, before their hopes of trying to pull off a crazy comeback would come to an end. But how about those SMG plays out of the Røkkr boys to start this one off?
I told you, man, it's the SMGs, the way that they're able to maneuver around this map. You need to be a route man. Route man gets paid, and that's exactly what Standy and Attach were able to do on that very first round. Just staying so pushed up on the opposite side, on Minnesota's side, on Paris Legion's side of the spawn, where they were just causing so many problems. Just spawn killing them, putting them around tools area. It was just really difficult right there for Paris Legion to try to get any map control. But now they need to have a strong response on defense. Standy starting off 9-3, I was talking about it. Him and Classic need to have that head-to-head matchup on the map like this. And so far, Standy is winning it. He's going to open up with the stick, but unfortunately, the trophy is going to be there to save the guy's life.
This indeed, they line up. That's actually going to be 2. Can he find the third onto Aqua toward bottom tank? Does get filled with 18 HP. Aqua does take down his good old SMG duo and Attach, but meanwhile, Standy, all the smarter, trying to make the wraparound plays. But Standy with this far pushed up position, he is the only player alive on the map, and so a 7 spree cannot get over toward the top railing. But I believe he did earn that artillery barrage before fading off into the distance. Again, Standy continuing to make the plays. The SMGs being a problem. Start off this control for Paris as the nade comes in. That's going to be 2 in a row. As one player left to deal with over at that B point. Back and forth we go, but without a doubt, a much different offensive look here from Minnesota. Just a few moments away from capturing that B point, as Standy continues to do work toward the other side of the map, causing problems here over at A.
The only thing is, they weren't able to secure that B point to extend this time by a minute. And as I say that, a player is going to be on it, so they should be able to close it out, but Standy's still picking up every single kill from this top plat area. He still does have that artillery to work with, and now he's going to decide to call it in. He's on another 4 spree, trying to work to some more streaks. He's able to take down Scraps, able to take down 3 with the artillery, and Minnesota, on the back of Standy, they come out and win that offensive round so fast, and now they're up 2-0.
We're talking about how often we see streaks at times just not be utilized correctly. Perfect instance of it right there. Standy gets the call from his teammates to say, yep, now's the time to rock it, calls in the artillery, and finds the triple. Impressive plays out of Standy. Really, the entire team, just a great effort out of them. Making offense on Garrison just look simple as they grab a commanding 2-0 lead. I mean, look at the kills. Like 6 for accuracy, 7 for Attach and Priestahh, and there's just Standy, just at 20-4. An unreal performance out of him. As like I said, he's still sitting on that 7 spree, so we could see the crews get grabbed back rounds. It has been Standy to start. He's hoping to try and play his life, a few nades, so that crew's really the only negative right now for Minnesota, but at what cost?
That's the only way you're able to take the guy down. So 3 Semtexes straight into a room, and eventually you will be able to kill Standy. So now that's going to put him at 20-5 on the map so far. Some early progression coming in on towards this B point. Is going to be Paris on it. But accuracy able to get 2. Awkward with the trade. It's going to force Scrap to just try to play his life towards this dark area. Attach is going to be able to win that gunfight onto Aqua through the middle of the map. Going to go for the second challenge onto Scraps, so eventually he's going to get traded. But kills are just going back and forth so far. Paris Legion are trying to fight for some more map control. But it's impossible when Minnesota are just so far pushed up, trading kills left and right.
This is at times like how we see certain teams struggle with like teams like Atlanta FaZe, right? It just looks like there's like 5 or 6 players on the map. They are just flying so far throughout Garrison. Really, players from Paris just struggling to even get a solid gun engagement. Is finally sitting in a 5-team spree that will open up that B control point, maybe, then to secure one. But it is that green presence. As Classic falls, it will be the 4-3 push. Scraps trying to hang on valiantly, cannot escape with the 5 spree. Wiped away over at that B point, and this is where things could start to get problematic. 30 seconds on the clock. If a round is locked here for Paris, this one is done. A nice slide comes through, but again, it's that top green pressure. It's Priestahh, P-Dog, laying down the bullets. Causing issues.
Just trying to stay alive.
Trying to stay alive. Paris Moments away from what could be a 3-0 loss here on Garrison.
Not looking good, man. With 10 seconds left, they're going to be trapped in their spawn. Minnesota are picking up every single kill, but Aqua's going to be able to try to take down 2 with them. They have to sprint. They have to sprint straight towards this B point, and just like that, Minnesota Røkkr are going to close out that control in a 3-0 dominant fashion to put themselves up 2-1 in the series.
Oh my goodness, Study. I tell you what, my man, that was just one that you want to forget if you're the Legion. Like I know we talked about like previously, like a Men in Black type situation where you're just trying to forget things. You got to forget that map. Standy, well deserved of a fist bump, maybe even a hug potentially after that. Just an unreal performance from him, as it will be Minnesota's first control 3-0 of the season. Love to see it from this team in regards to how they struggled in that first respawn, but I know let's take a look at the stats. What does Seany finish off? 24-10. Pretty good, Study, considering we played 3 rounds.
Yeah, that's really good, man, because he is the route man, and the fact that he was able to pick up a lot of these kills and just put himself in the positionings that he was in, just being aggressive on the map, winning a majority of those gunfights on that 8 point when he was by himself. Not only picked up 1 streak, but was able to pick up 2 sets of streaks, at least 2 different artilleries. Man, the guy just went off. Classic, unfortunately, 7-15. I told you he needed to be there to match Standy on being that route man, but unfortunately Paris Legion, they just couldn't get any map control, man. A lot of kills didn't go in their favor. Minnesota counter, now they're up 2-0.
Well, as we called it,
2-1.
as we called it, man. What, search, destroy, control, just right, not too good for the Paris Legion, but so far from Minnesota, they have rolled throughout our last 2 games, and now we talk about Hardpoint, right? On Apocalypse, it could be the opportunity, maybe, for Paris to send us to a Game 5 that has been kind of their strong suit throughout the season. Okay, Minnesota, close us out here. We will find out as Apocalypse could be our final resting place for Day 2 of the Paris home series. Oh, I don't know about you, Study. I saw those CDL team packs, and I just got all kinds of excitement because I tell you what, man. Whenever I'm rocking the Minnesota one, I just imagine that I'm Standy. I don't know what it is. It's just a thing, and I don't perform like Standy, but I like to imagine that I could maybe be him someday if I practice long enough. And okay, who am I kidding? It's never gonna happen.
Nope, you never will. All good.
You play with me in League Play, you know exactly that's the case, my friend. But wait, tell you what. Apocalypse Hardpoint up next, and what on this mode in particular, SMGs at times can be the players that you look out for. maybe Standy could be that type of player. But as we revisit that first hard point that we got to witness, it was the Legion that came away with the victory. And like I said, man, it was consistency across the board. 19 was the lowest amount of kills, 23 was the highest. A consistent performance with Scraps grabbing a lot of time in the hill.
Yeah, they just need to come out and do the same exact thing on this map number 4, because that map number 3, teamwork was completely out the window. They let Standy completely run over them from start to finish of that map number 3, and now they find themselves down 2-1 in this series. But they're going up against Minnesota Røkkr, who have yet to play this map on the entire season. So Paris Legion, they're 0-1, so at least they got 1 rep on it. But you got to be feeling really confident for the Legion, for them to try to force it to this game number 5. But the way that Standy's playing right now, someone needs to answer the call and challenge this guy.
Yeah, I would definitely not prefer to do that. But one thing that I do want to ask you, right? We saw it in our last series. We got to witness Apocalypse Hardpoint. Now we're going to be able to see it again. Paris, they will be spawning on the non-preferred side there over at No Man's Land. And what we've got to witness, granted, not a major sample size so far of Apocalypse Hardpoint, but how do you want to see the team spawning on the non-preferred side at least make things competitive over at P2 on Temple?
Well, it's either two things. It's either you're all going to flood towards Broken and try to flip these spawns right off the rip, or you're going to just try to get as much time as you can off this P1 hardpoint and eventually work towards that pinch or that setup to try to flip these spawns for that P2. And that's exactly what Paris are going to try to do. They're all forcing out towards low trenches. They're going to be able to get some early time on this P1. They're going to force the players from Minnesota Røkkr to just try to play their lives and not force a spawn out. The 2 kills are going to go in favor of Paris. That's going to spawn one player all the way across the map, which is going to be Priestahh. And now this is going to set up the pinch for Paris Legion. They're getting time off of this P1 hardpoint, and they're winning their engagements off the rotation. But Attach, able to shut down Temp, is going to slow down this push by just a little bit of time.
Siphoning in from Turtle are the Røkkr, realizing that P2 spawn very well could have been lost. So pretty much back-to-back spawn outs from both of our teams. I don't think Aqua and Co realized that they actually had a nice play going if they just would have ran forward. So Standy will happily take that 2-piece. His first 2 kills of the game come at a major moment where Paris looked like they may have flipped the spawns. Regardless, Standy makes the play, and now Minnesota can sit not necessarily comfortably, but in a much better spot as Legion will look to make the play coming in toward the front side. The early nade will set them up nicely. As Standy drops, Aqua as well finds the other. Trophy eliminated as Aqua and Classic continue to cause problems. In from Turtle they go, and Legion once again are able to make some work happen toward this rotation. And in fact, they also are able to break it. They grab the spawns. A great moment there out of the Legion.
And I thought it was going to get a little scary right there because we saw the way that LAG were able to hold this down versus the Ultra. It's basically a full 60 every time they were fully set up. But I love right there what the Legion were able to do. They were able to get 2 kills that eventually flood out towards the hop-up on Broken. That spawns a couple players out, and we're able to get this remaining 30 seconds. Now, it's all about trying to rotate towards that P3, where Minnesota is going to be nice and early set up. But with Scraps getting that kill, Scraps getting a second, this could be the opening they need to try to get these guys off of this point.
Be indeed, you see Temp maybe in the midst of going for a flank, instantly Attach, ops outside of the hill. He wants to try to go for the check, but it just continues to be the 74 U's that are problems right now for the Legion. Temp starting things off at 6 and 4. Scraps on the other side says, you know what, 74 U, it does feel pretty nice. It looks in his streak to 2. And really kind of instantly toward top book, it is the Legion in every single fight, just walking away with kills. As the split spawn will come in from Minnesota. So we'll see how Paris looks to try to handle this, if not be able to handle this at all. Few players still hanging out toward middle. Priestahh gets some questionable hit markers for the player inside of bottom of lights. But with time starting to tick away, Aqua will grab the time. But in that sequence, because of those flip spawn study, it will now be Minnesota set up for P4 and possibly set up for P5 as well.
Yeah, they keep giving Minnesota Røkkr a chance to fight back into this game, man. If one person is in the backside of that P5 hardpoint, they're able to block that spawn and eventually spawn all the players from the Legion. From Minnesota out towards that back broken area. And that's just another error right there from Paris Legion. So now they have to try to break it. You see Route Man and Mr. Temp trying to push her on the backside, able to win that engagement. Now it's all about just trying to stay alive towards this back, but with him getting that kill, it's going to spawn one player all the way across the map. It's going to eventually set up this pinch for Minnesota. And here comes Attach to the backside. They're going to be able to get this remaining time and get back into this game. They're also going to keep spawns for that P5. So far, Paris Legion have made 2 mistakes. They have made the mistake towards that P2, where they were able to at least break in and not give up a full 60. And right here, where they spawned Minnesota towards the back of this P5 hardpoint, is not ideal. Paris Legion should have a bigger lead on this map right now, but they don't.
Great call, man. A few mistakes coming through from Legion that can make all the difference. A solid start to this game, but they've allowed for Minnesota to open up that door. With those mistakes now coming into P5, we'll see what the Legion can do. We'll go and listen in with the communication as we go to our Astro listen-in with Paris.
Front P5 won't allow me. 2
In the back, in the back,
front
P5.
Going downstairs. Double in the back door. They're double.
Back door, Priestahh weak.
Go on. 2 back door, 2 back.
Spawn deep, we spawn deep.
Alright,
I'm bringing out a sub for this sub. Let's head low.
alright, one's in hill, one's backside hill.
One's low heli on me.
Top maps. Hard on accuracy. More dead. Nice.
I don't see the guy low.
We spawn in the back. We spawn maps.
Low, one shot. He was watching it.
No, we don't come in. Trophy in time.
Coming down.
Just spray me right now.
I'm old, right?
I'm a slide.
Yeah.
You're doing the team shoot. Standy weak. Nice. No one right corner. Close right corner.
Right corner dead. More close.
I spawned in the back. They're gonna be on you, iLLeY.
He's gonna be on you, iLLeY. Yeah, we spawn in the back, bro. You gotta go big, iLLeY. He's low TV. They don't go left.
I need comms.
Yeah, one's in the window on the left.
I don't see on maps or tempo. I can kill that guy. Give me time.
Got Marlon.
Almost top map.
No, one back maps.
Almost top TV.
He's front coop.
Alright, Priestahh is low helicopter.
Front coop, guys.
Priestahh dead, low.
Nice. No one low.
Low me, guys.
Try to help Maddie.
One shot time. He's challenging me.
Low
Kill the guy left. Kill the guy left.
Low me still. Low.
Time weak. I don't see him low.
Yo, nothing rush me.
I can't shot.
He's looking helicopter.
Tempo. One more tempo.
Nice. Lamar was low. On time now.
Alright.
Let's run this P one time.
I'm absolute, guys.
Right, don't say anything.
Wait, you have right.
Right, deal.
Hello, right.
Blue barrels.
Standy on time. I have no health, guys.
Back map. Attach back map.
How far hurt?
Can't get time, bro.
Attach back map.
Half wall.
Touch is low.
One shot. Priestahh really hurt.
Two maps. One time
Touch is low, man. I'm all low. I'm trying to play my eyes.
Calm down.
Nice.
Standy there low.
He's weak low.
About that listening study, kind of one thing stuck out, right? It was that situation where Aqua's hanging out toward Miller. He says, hey, I need comms. He doesn't see the player. And now that sets up Minnesota for a solid P2 hold. Granted, Legion, they are forcing their way through the front toward front temple. But as you said, man, it's kind of been Legion putting themselves in this spot. The reason why they don't have the lead is not because of Minnesota plays, but it's because of the mishaps happening on the Legion end.
Yeah, they definitely they are making major mistakes. Like on the end of that P5, they try to challenge it with about 20 seconds left instead of thinking about that rotation, and that's what causes them. So now they're getting, unfortunately, full 60'd on in this P2 hardpoint. You see a couple players trying to push around the back, but Minnesota, they shut down that push. So now it's going to cause all the players from Paris Legion to try to break through the front. But at this point, with 25 seconds remaining, you need to start focusing on this rotation. You see number 6, nice and early, which is going to be attached, making the heads-up play, which is going to spawn one player in Classic out towards the backside. Eventually, he's able to take down 2, try to get this remaining junk time, able to take down the 3rd as well. So it's not that bad of a situation, but they have still yet to find Attach off the rotation.
All right, my man. Attach still hanging out, still yet to be found. His accuracy graded with a few extra shots coming through from Temp, but it's Aqua from the skies. Toward the backside of TVs, goes for the opening engagement. We'll drop that one to Attach. But Scraps is there. Back and forth we go. About a 30 to 40 point game up to this point. Minnesota with the advantage. Is really throughout this hill. It's kind of focusing on P4, P5. Paris spawning on the preferred side for the moment. So in terms of advantages, Minnesota with the lead, but Paris in terms of the long game in the better spot of the two. The Standy and accuracy, they combine for 3. Gonna leave Matty Marshall all up by his lonesome, hanging out toward the outskirts as he does get dropped. So with that, Minnesota, they break on in, but it's Classic's turn as he'll look to try and cause some problems. 15 seconds left. Standy wins that, and with that 1v1, it will give Minnesota the time. Off of that rotation, it is a 3v3 team fight over at Turtle.
And this could be scary because that number 4 player in Temp is going to spawn all the way out. So right now, Minnesota are doing just such a great job from holding this from the front side, and they're able to flip the spawns as well. Minnesota are playing perfect hardpoint right now. Paris Legion, they're just making way too many mistakes, and this is where the lead is going to grow substantially for Minnesota Røkkr. They just broke that 200-point mark. They can't win off of this, but now Paris Legion have to try to break in because they cannot give up all this time. You see the pinch coming in from Aqua. He's trying to set it up, but unfortunately, he's going to back down. And now it's all about just trying to push through the middle. Matt trying to flood out the front. The last player is going to be here, is going to be Classic, and that's another 4 dead now for Paris Legion.
I mean, like I said, it's just in that moment, like Aqua's just trying to make the play, but just nobody's able to win it from the front. The questionable moments coming through from the Legion, but they are just all guns ablaze, sprinting through light. But right there is going to be Priestahh. P-Dog shuts him down in stride. 6 in a row, nearly makes it 7. I know exactly where the Paris players are located, as 10 seconds left before this one is called done. Priestahh hanging down, shutting them down left and right. Aqua tries to make his way on the ladder, but it's going to be a no-go as Minnesota roll through our final 3 maps, convincing in the search and destroy, convincing in the control, and convincing in the hardpoint.
Man, that one's going to hurt if you're Paris Legion. You go back and watch that, because there were just so many mistakes where you could have opened this game wide open and had the potential to force it to that game number 5. But too many mistakes cost them a lot of points on this hard point. Starts off with that P2 hard point. If they were able to just keep those spawns in the back, if they just push through instead of waiting for Standy to eventually set up on that pinch, they're in a better position. But then that P4 of the very first rotation, once they spawned a couple players from Minnesota towards that backside, they were able to set up a pinch, and it was just great teamwork all around from Minnesota from top to bottom. These guys were on point. They kept capitalizing on all the mistakes from Paris Legion. And like I said, man, Paris Legion, once again, can't really show us anything from what this new roster can really be. That's another 1-3 loss to them. That's going to be 0-3 ever since Temp has been picked up to this team. It's just not looking good for Paris right now.
Yeah, you see the signs, right, coming through from Temp. Just kind of a frustrating loss for this team. Is they just continue to try and make changes. They continue to try to change things up, but it's just not working out for them. And I think you called it perfectly, man. Like they had opportunities throughout that hard point. There were different situations throughout Apocalypse. This was a convincing win in terms of the scoreline, but like I said, it wasn't just because of Minnesota making plays. It was Minnesota taking advantage of the opportunity that the Legion gave them. Obviously a positive for one end, but without a doubt a negative for Paris right now, as they are in a slump, to put it lightly. I forget what their exact loss streak is, but it's just overall in stage 3 and kind of prior to that, leading up from stage 2 into the major, things are just not clicking. And it could also be, man, because of the mistakes. We talk about search and destroy and in control. You cannot lose a hard point like that.
Yeah, the search and destroy, I expect to be there. I expect the S&D Wolves to be there because it's still a fairly new team, and they have to develop strategies against these teams who have just been together for a really long time, and you're going up against top competition, just specifically in that game mode, especially with Minnesota Røkkr in that map number 2. But that map number 3, that control, where we saw them on the map number 1. They came out and they were able to equal the slaying department. But then right there in that control, they just couldn't fight for map control. They let Standy completely run over them, and they just couldn't recuperate and just get back together and execute a play to break out of their spawn or anything like that. And then that map number 4 just came down to some mistakes, man. If they just eliminate those mistakes, they put themselves in a better position to close that out and had the potential to close it to a game 5. But once again, Paris Legion, they just let go of that foot on the pedal after that map number 1. And it costs them.
Yeah. And that foot off the pedal, man, could not be more accurate of a statement. And shout out to our stats team. They just kind of sent that over to me. Shout out to Tyler the GOAT. Says Paris now on a 4-match losing streak. Not too solid. Not too solid by any means. But let's go and revisit that hard point on Apocalypse. I'm sorry, Legion fans. Or sorry, our scuff play of the game. Apologies, Paris fans. But we got to revisit Apocalypse. I apologize. Yeah, we have to see it again. And really, man, it's the plays late. It's the plays out of Priestahh. P-Dog making the play, shutting down what was a last-ditch effort out of the Legion to try and flip spawns and to try and cause some chaos over at P5.
And the crazy thing is, like, before this P4 hardpoint even started, Minnesota, they were getting bad spawns. They were spawning out towards Broken, but they rotate nice and early as a team. They were able to fight out through the front and then chain a couple of kills together to force those players to spawn up behind them. And that was just great teamwork out of Minnesota. Once again, they were capitalizing on the mistakes from Paris Legion on that map, and they get the job done in the 3-1 series. I'm just happy to see them back in that S&D form, though, because they were 1-5 before that win, and now they are 2-5, which is going to be a little better, but getting a 6-2 underneath your belt, getting your feet wet in that search and destroy in the win column, it's got to be feeling good if you're Minnesota.
It's got to, man. And maybe this could be kind of the rebound series for them. We talked about kind of their struggle in terms of performance as of late, but they get the 3-1 here versus the Legion, and like we said, man, they're going to need all the confidence they can gain from a series like this, because they have got a rough schedule coming up. They've got the Battle of the North facing off against the Toronto Ultra. They have LAG, and then waiting for them at the end is going to be the Dallas Empire, a team that hopes to kind of continue to make some strides. Now with FeLo in the starting lineup, but on the other end for Paris, man, it's rough, right? We're talking about 1-3 versus Empire, 0-3 versus a Guerrillas team that literally just brought Sheen into the team, and then a 1-3 loss here versus the Røkkr. Still have Florida, still have Toronto. Like we said, on a 4-match losing streak, 1-7 in their last 8 series. Not good right now for Paris. And like I said, man, we'll just kind of see what can kind of happen with this team. As unfortunate as it sounds, it's just a matter of some teams being hot. It's about how competitive this league can be. And Legion, they've just been running into all of our stacked rosters right now.
Yeah, they started off with Dallas Empire, who unfortunately they still had Hook on the roster, so that's going to be a tough matchup. Then they go in versus the Guerrillas. I expected that to be a closer series, but Chino, he comes in, makes his debut, and just has a tremendous series from top to bottom. They get the job done there, and then they just dropped this series to Minnesota, so that's going to put them 0-3 in this group, and they still have to play Florida, and they have to play the best team in the game in Ultra. So the best that they can do right now for me is a 1-4, because I don't think that they're going to beat Toronto. It's just that simple. The best chance is to try to beat Florida, but the way that they're looking right now, it's a really tough task to get done.
It's going to be rough, like we said. But hey, taking a look at our schedule coming in toward tomorrow, it's a new day. It's also a new month, May 1st. Royal Ravens taking on Atlanta FaZe to start off the day. Then we got Dallas Empire versus LAG. Then to close things out for our Game Fuel marquee match, it's going to be the Seattle Surge taking on NYSL. Oh boy, I am excited for that one. In particular, a lot of things to be excited about. And if you're a Minnesota fan, let alone if you are a player on the team, got to be stoked after a W like that, as they're able to rebound post the loss versus the Florida Mutineers. But like I said, they get the W here, and convincingly in our final 3 game modes. Like we said, the Search and Destroy was great, Control and the Hardpoint was as well. But folks, when we come back after this quick little break, it's gonna be myself standing by with Priestahh, aka P-Dog, getting his thoughts on the series and how the Røkkr look to continue to improve throughout Stage 3.
The Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. The Call of Duty League is presented by Seany, the official eyewear for the CDL. Armor your eyes with Seany Blocks blue light protection glasses by visiting seany.com/gaming. Røkkr certainly come to play.
They can't stop it. They can't stop the kids. They can't stop it.
Whoa, Priestahh, beast. disgusting. Accuracy's there, nice kill. Bang! 200 IQ, 10 out of 10 play. Oh my word! But Dash is going to save the day. Røkkr, our kings of the north.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your Game Fuel Victory Spotlight. I'm Lando, and joining me is Priestahh of the Minnesota Røkkr. Well, buddy, you guys get a solid win today here versus what is a struggling Paris Legion team, but I know that you guys were coming off the loss versus Florida. A lot of talk on this team, just talk about how you guys could kind of come into this matchup, again, versus Paris. But I want to ask you, kind of coming in from that loss versus Florida, what did you guys really want to work on coming into today?
Yeah, I mean, coming off a loss definitely sucks. So we wanted to rebound and get this win was huge for us. I mean, just like clean up our S&D, and we've been really focused on respawns, but our S&D's kind of been off a little bit lately. So we were really focusing on just kind of just balancing everything, to be honest.
Well, you guys made the plays in the search and destroy, no doubt. I know that accuracy kind of play in particular kind of stands out as one, but you guys get the 6-2 win here on Miami. But I know one kind of talk, at least amongst the kind of the CDL community, if you want to call it that, has kind of been the hard point, your ability kind of been hard point. You guys dropped the first, but you take a nice commanding closeout there on the Apocalypse. How great does it feel to not just walk away with the series, but specifically to at least close things out with a solid hard point win on Apocalypse?
Yeah, I mean, they came out hot in Checkmate. We still got a lot to work on that map specifically, but we're gonna go back, watch it, and try to clean things up. And I mean, APOC was that was our first time playing that map, and we've been playing it really well in scrims. So to get that win in an actual match feels good. So we have another map we can add into our rotation now. So it feels good, and we're just gonna keep on improving on every map.
Definitely, man. Well, the improvements at least showed from series to series, and it's going to kind of need to continue to be that way, considering your guys' next matchup is going to be against the Toronto Ultra. I know I had a quick little chat earlier with Kleenex. The team's feeling good, and obviously it is kind of a a nice little rivalry. We talked about the Battle of the North. How do you guys feel about that series, and what's the preparation look like leading up into that game versus Toronto?
Yeah, I think it's just for us to prepare. We're just gonna focus on our own game, especially these S&D. Just make sure we're making our own plays that we want to make, and not worrying about what the other team's doing so much. And I'm just excited to get a rematch against them again. But they're a good team, so we got to come out hot.
Absolutely, my man. Absolutely. Well, hey, congrats again to you and the team on the win, and best of luck heading into that match versus Toronto.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, folks, that is going to be a wrap-up for day number 2 here at the Paris home series. It was filled with a number of different amazing moments and highlights, but we also have to take a look at what is coming here for tomorrow. Our schedule presented here by the U.S. Army. We're starting things off, of course, as always, at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, London Royal Ravens taking on the Atlanta FaZe. Quickly after that, we'll have the Dallas Empire taking on the LA Guerrillas. And then to close out the day, it will be our Game Fuel marquee matchup, Seattle Surge taking on the New York Subliners. A lot to be excited about, a lot to be, I guess you could say, kind of thrilled when it comes down to the rest of the Paris home series. But folks, for the entire crew and for the entire talent lineup, I'm Lando Sanders signing off for the final time, wishing you a great and safe night.
This has been an unbelievable week of Call of Duty.
This was just absolutely insane.
It just still has me mind blown, man.
One of the craziest sequences I've ever seen in my life.
It's Wednesday, and it's the start of the major. The LA Thieves have come to play. Oh boy! The Thieves absolutely decimate Paris.
There goes Scump, and it will be the Ultra taking down OpTic Chicago.
What are you talking about, baby?
Ace, a devastating 3-0.
Lose this, you go home.
Deep 3-0 New York, and keep the Cinderella story alive.
A nail biter here in the map 4.
FaZe, yes! Oh, baby, aBeZy.
It is FaZe with the victory. FaZe will move in to top 3, and for Ultra, you still have a chance to battle on. You're not out of it yet.
Fans is going to get the quick contest. They killed everyone! They killed all the Thieves! Toronto Ultra 3-0 in the series. For the Thieves, the honeymoon period is over.
Drop kick to the dome.
Accuracy, though, they line up! They line up for accuracy, and he wins it! Are you kidding? Accuracy with the ice!
Oh my god!
The Giants, the Titans, Atlanta FaZe. Can anyone take down the final boss? It is do or die time.
Kleenex, the best player in the world. Ultra, they continue on. Okay! God! Ultra behind the brakes. Get to a grand final.
Atlanta FaZe, once they hit the go button, there is no stopping them. What happened? The greatest underdog going into the tournament. They take the best team in the league the whole way. They truly are Ultra as your major two champions, Toronto Ultra.